My beloved child, there are things surrounding you right now that have made you feel less secure than you once did. You may not speak about them often. You may even try to convince yourself that you are fine, but I know what happens inside you when the room becomes quiet. I know the thoughts that return. I know the questions you carry into the night. And I want you to hear me clearly. You are safer than you feel. Not because everything around you is predictable, not because nothing difficult can happen, not because you already know how every situation will unfold. You are safe because you are not walking through any of this without me. My child, your feelings can be powerful, but they do not always tell you the whole truth. Fear can make a small uncertainty appear enormous. It can take one unanswered question and build an entire future around it. It can whisper that because you cannot see what is coming, you must prepare yourself for the worst. But you do not have to live that way. I am here. You have been looking at what could change. I have been watching over you through every change. You have been wondering what could go wrong. I have remained beside you, steady and unshaken. You have been trying to understand how you will handle tomorrow while I am giving you grace for today. My beloved, I know why you became cautious. I know the moments that taught you how quickly circumstances can change. I know the disappointment that made you afraid to hope too freely. I know what it feels like when someone you trusted becomes distant, when something you expected does not happen, or when life suddenly moves in a direction you never planned. I do not dismiss those wounds. I do not ask you to pretend they did not affect you. But I also do not want yesterday's pain to become tomorrow's prophecy. What happened before does not have the authority to tell you that you will always be alone, always disappointed, always afraid, or always waiting for something else to fall apart. Look to me, my child. You are still here. And so am I. There were moments when you thought you would not have enough strength, yet strength came. There were nights when your thoughts were heavy, yet morning arrived. There were seasons when you could not understand the road beneath your feet, yet step by step, you kept moving. Do not overlook this. My presence has often been quieter than your fear, but it has never been less real. So come closer to me now. You do not need to solve your whole life in this moment. You do not need to know what will happen next month, next week, or even tomorrow. Let your mind return from all those distant places it has been wandering. Stay here with me. Give me this moment before you try to carry the next one. Tell me what frightens you. You do not need polished words. You do not need to hide the trembling places in your heart. Bring them into my presence exactly as they are. And then, trust me enough to leave them here. My beloved child, peace does not require you to know everything that is coming. Peace grows as you remember who is walking with you. I am not asking you to deny the storm. I am asking you to stop believing that the storm is greater than my presence. There are things you cannot control. There are answers you do not yet have. There may even be changes ahead that you cannot presently imagine. But none of them will make me lose sight of you. None of them will cause me to step away. So when fear tells you that you are exposed, remember me. When uncertainty tells you that you must figure everything out immediately, come back to my presence. Trust me with this moment, my child. Let tomorrow remain in my hands, because much of what frightens you comes from what your eyes can see and what your mind assumes from it. But what you see has never been the whole story. There is always more happening in my hands than your eyes can yet perceive. And because you cannot see the whole story, my child, do not be too quick to decide that nothing is happening. I know how easy it is to look at your circumstances and measure my work by what has changed. You prayed, but the situation still looks the same. You waited, but the answer has not appeared. You hoped for movement, but the door remains closed. You asked me for direction, yet the road ahead still seems uncertain. I know that this can make your heart tired. There are moments when you wonder whether you missed something. Perhaps you begin questioning your faith. Perhaps you look at the lives of others and wonder why their path seems to be moving while yours appears to be standing still. My beloved, I see those thoughts, but never confuse what you can see with all that I am doing. There is more happening than what has reached your eyes. Think of how much of life begins in places no one can see. A seed rests beneath the soil before anything green breaks through the surface. Roots deepen quietly before a tree can stand against strong winds. Morning begins pushing against the darkness before you see the first light across the horizon. Not everything important announces itself immediately, and neither does everything I do in your life. Sometimes I am preparing you. Sometimes I am redirecting your steps. Sometimes I am strengthening something within you before your circumstances change around you. And sometimes, my child, my care is found in what I do not allow. You may only see the delay. I see what lies beyond it. You may only see the interruption. I see roads you cannot yet see. You may only see something slipping away and wonder why I did not make it stay. But your vision is limited to this moment. Mine is not. This is why I do not want your peace to depend entirely upon visible evidence. If you need everything to make sense before you trust me, your heart will constantly rise and fall with your circumstances. One day you will feel secure because something went according to plan. The next day you will become afraid because something changed. I want to give you a steadier place to stand. My presence. Come back to me when circumstances confuse you, when your eyes cannot find the answer. Let your heart return to the one who sees beyond what you see. You can say to me quietly, I do not understand this yet, but I trust you. That simple trust is precious to me. It does not mean you have stopped caring. It does not mean you no longer desire an answer. And it does not mean disappointment suddenly stops hurting. Trust means you refuse to make your limited view the final truth. So do not force an answer simply because waiting makes you uncomfortable. Do not run towards something merely because standing still feels frightening. Stay close enough to me that you can be guided. My child, there are things I can teach you in uncertainty that you would never learn if every road were immediately clear. There is a deeper kind of peace that grows when you discover that my presence remains steady even while your circumstances remain unresolved. Let me form that peace within you. Look again at the place you have called empty. Perhaps it is not empty. Perhaps you simply cannot yet see what is growing there. And when nothing around you seems to move, do not assume that I have forgotten where you are. I know exactly where you are. I know what you need. I know what you are carrying. And I know what lies beyond the part of the road you can presently see. So stay with me, my beloved. Do not demand that today's circumstances explain your entire future. Today is only one page. You have been trying to read the whole story from it, and this is where so much of your fear begins. Your mind takes what you see today and carries it forward into tomorrow. It imagines what could happen, what might change, what you might lose, and whether you will have enough strength to face it. But, my child, while you are worrying about a tomorrow you have never entered, there is something you are forgetting. I am already there. I am already there, my child. The tomorrow you keep trying to see is not hidden from me. You wonder what will happen if things do not work out the way you hope. You imagine conversations that have never taken place. You prepare yourself for losses that have not happened. Sometimes one small uncertainty enters your mind, and before long you have followed it through 10 different possibilities, each one heavier than the last. What if this changes? What if that person leaves? What if the answer is no? What if I cannot handle what comes next? I know these questions. I know how exhausting it is when your body is here, but your mind is living in days that have not yet arrived. My beloved, you were not created to carry an entire future at once. You have grace for this day. You have my presence in this moment. And when tomorrow becomes today, I will still be with you. Do not mistake my refusal to show you everything for my refusal to care for you. There are things you do not need to know yet. There are roads that would only overwhelm you if you could see every turn before taking the first step. You want the whole map. Often, I give you enough light for the next step, and then I ask you to walk with me. This is where trust grows. Not when you can predict everything. Not when every possibility has been removed. But when you can look toward an uncertain tomorrow and still say, my Father will be there. My precious one, I am not promising you a life in which nothing difficult ever reaches you. I am promising something deeper than that. You will never face a single day outside my presence. Whatever tomorrow contains, you will not enter it without me. If there is a decision to make, seek me there. If there is a season of waiting, I will remain with you there. If there is joy, receive it with me. If there are tears, You will not have to hide them from me. If the road changes unexpectedly, I will still know the way. So why are you asking yourself today to possess the strength for something that has not happened? You are measuring today's strength against tomorrow's imagined burden. Of course you feel weak. I did not give you tomorrow's grace today. I am giving you what you need to walk with me now. Come back to today, my child. Come back from the conversations you have been rehearsing. Come back from the endings you have imagined. Come back from the places where fear keeps taking you. Stay here with me. Notice your breath. Notice this moment. You are here, and I am here with you. Give me the tomorrow you keep rehearsing in your mind. You do not have to wrestle it into certainty before you place it in my hands. Simply give it to me. And if you take it back 10 minutes from now, bring it to me again. I will not grow impatient with you. Trust is sometimes practiced this way. My beloved, again and again you notice that fear has carried your thoughts away, and again you return them to me. This is not failure. This is learning to remain close. There will always be another possibility your mind can invent, another question it can ask, another outcome it can attempt to control. You will never think your way into perfect security. Peace is found somewhere else. It is found in knowing that wherever the road goes, you will not walk it alone. So walk with me here. Do what this day has placed before you. Love the people who are with you today. Receive the small gifts that belong to this moment. Attend to the responsibilities already in your hands. Let tomorrow wait until it arrives. You do not need to arrive there before I lead you there. My child, I know what is coming, and I know you. I know where you will need strength. I know where you will need wisdom. I know where you will need comfort. Nothing about your future will surprise me or cause me to lose sight of you. Rest in that truth. Yet I know there is another question beneath your fear. Sometimes you hear me say that I am near, and something inside you quietly asks, then why can I not feel you? You pray, but there is silence. You wait, but nothing seems to answer. And you begin to wonder whether my quietness means I have moved away. My beloved, do not confuse my silence with my absence. My beloved, do not confuse my silence with my absence. I know how difficult silence can be when you have been waiting for an answer. You have prayed about the same thing more than once. You have asked me to show you what to do. You have looked for direction, for reassurance, for some small sign that would tell you everything is going to make sense. And sometimes, nothing seems to come. I know that hurts. Silence can feel especially heavy when your heart is already tired. It can make you question what you once believed with confidence. You begin to wonder whether I heard you at all, whether you prayed the right words, whether you have done something wrong, or whether I have somehow moved farther away. My child, I have not moved away. My quietness is not rejection. My silence is not abandonment. There are moments when you will recognize my presence through comfort, clarity, or a deep peace you cannot explain. But there will also be moments when you must trust that I am near before your emotions confirm it. This is part of walking with me. Think of roots growing beneath the soil. For a long time, the surface may appear unchanged. No one standing above the ground can see the quiet work happening underneath. Yet the roots are reaching deeper. They are finding what will sustain the life that will eventually become visible. What looks still is not always empty, and what feels quiet is not always inactive. My beloved child, some of my deepest work within you may happen in seasons when you feel very little. You are learning to seek me, not only the feeling of being comforted. You are learning to trust my character when circumstances do not explain my intentions. You are learning that my presence is not measured by the intensity of your emotions. Stay with me. Do not run from the silence simply because it makes you uncomfortable. Do not assume that you must immediately fill it with another voice, another opinion, another prediction, another explanation. There is no shame in seeking wise guidance. There is no weakness in asking for help. But do not let your need for immediate certainty become louder than your willingness to remain with me. Sometimes you are asking, why are you not speaking? And I am quietly teaching your heart to listen differently. Look for me in what I have already placed before you, in the truth you already know, in the strength that arrives for one more day, in the restraint that keeps you from rushing ahead. in the peace that gently tells you not to force what is not yet clear. I am not always absent from the ordinary simply because you were expecting something extraordinary. Remember this, my child. The dawn does not begin when you first see the sun. Light has already begun its journey before the horizon changes before your eyes. So it can be with the seasons you walk through with me. You may not see the light yet. That does not mean morning is impossible. Trust me in the part you cannot see. Stay close in the part you cannot explain. You do not need to manufacture a feeling in order to prove that I am near. Simply bring me your honest heart. If you are disappointed, tell me. If you are tired of waiting, tell me. If you are confused, tell me. Even if all you can say is, Father, I do not understand, but I am still here, bring me those words. I would rather receive your honest weakness than watch you hide behind words you do not truly feel. And then remain with me. Let the silence become a place where you rest instead of a place where fear writes its own answers. Because that is what fear often tries to do, my beloved. When I have not yet shown you what comes next, your mind begins filling the empty spaces. It analyzes. It predicts. It revisits old conversations. It searches for signs. It tries to solve every possibility so that you can finally feel safe. And without realizing it, you begin carrying things I never asked you to carry. The unanswered question, the uncertain outcome, the choices of other people. Tomorrow, all at once. My child, your mind was never meant to hold all of that alone. There are burdens you have been thinking about long enough. Now I want you to give them to me. Then give them to me, my child. Not only the things you know how to explain. Give me the tangled things too. The conversation you keep replaying. The decision you are afraid to make. The person whose choices you cannot control. The answer you have been trying to predict. The situation that follows you into quiet moments and demands another hour of your attention. I know how long you have carried some of these things, and I know why you keep holding them. Part of you believes that if you think long enough, you will finally find the one thought that makes everything safe. If you examine every possibility, perhaps nothing will surprise you. If you prepare for every outcome, perhaps you can protect your heart from disappointment. My beloved, I understand. But there is a difference between wisdom and worry. Wisdom helps you take the step that belongs to today. Worry asks you to carry every step at once. You were never meant to do that. There are responsibilities I have placed in your hands, and I will help you walk faithfully through them. But there are also things you have taken into your hands that were never yours to control. Other people's decisions. The timing of an answer. Every possible outcome. The future itself. Release them. Surrender is not the same as giving up. It is not saying that something does not matter. It is saying, Father, this matters deeply to me, but I know I cannot control it. So I place it in your hands. That is trust. And trust does not always happen once. Sometimes you give something to me in the morning and discover that you are carrying it again by afternoon. Bring it back. Perhaps tonight your mind will return to the same question. Bring it back again. I will not become tired of receiving what you are learning to release. My child, do not turn surrender into another standard by which you judge yourself. You do not have to surrender perfectly. You are learning. Each time fear returns, let it become an invitation to return to me. Name what is troubling you. Do not hide it behind general words. Tell me what you are afraid might happen. Tell me what you wish you could change. Tell me what you cannot understand. Then place it before me. Father, this is too heavy for me. I give it to you. And after you have given it to me, resist the urge to immediately pick it apart again. Stay with me instead. You may still need to make a decision. You may still need to have a difficult conversation. You may still have responsibilities waiting for you when this moment of prayer is over. I am not calling you away from responsibility. I am calling you away from carrying what belongs to me. There is freedom in knowing the difference. I will guide you in what is yours to do. Trust me with what is not. My precious one, anxiety often convinces you that constant thinking is keeping you safe, but sometimes all it is doing is keeping your heart inside the problem. You look at it from one angle, then another, until the problem becomes the largest thing in your vision. But I am still here. Lift your eyes. There is more in your life than the thing you are worried about. There is still love around you. There is still breath in your lungs. There is still grace for this day. There are still small moments of peace that fear has taught you to overlook. You do not have to wait until every problem disappears before you receive them. Let your heart become quiet enough to notice. My beloved, when worry has occupied your mind for a long time, goodness can begin to seem ordinary while trouble appears enormous. A difficult moment captures all your attention, while 100 quiet gifts pass unnoticed. I want to gently change the direction of your gaze, not so that you deny what hurts, not so that you pretend everything is well when it is not, but so that pain does not become the only thing you can see. Leave what you cannot control with me. Take the next step I place before you, and as you walk, begin to look again. There are quiet signs of my goodness surrounding you, even now. Some of them have been there all along. You were simply too burdened to notice them. Some of my goodness has been around you all along, my beloved. You were simply carrying so much that you could no longer see it clearly. Worry does this to the heart. It narrows your vision. It teaches your eyes to search constantly for what might be wrong, what might change, what might be lost. And after a while, even when something good is standing quietly beside you, fear can make it difficult to notice. So, look again, my child. Not because everything is perfect, not because nothing hurts. Look again because pain is not the whole picture. There are gifts in your life that do not arrive with noise. They do not announce themselves. They may seem so ordinary that you pass through them without realizing how gently they are holding you. A moment when your mind finally becomes quiet. A familiar voice that brings comfort. Someone showing kindness when you did not expect it. The strength to complete something you thought you were too tired to do. A place where you can rest. A moment of laughter in the middle of a difficult season. These things may appear small, but small does not mean meaningless. My precious one, you often wait for a great change before allowing yourself to feel grateful. You tell yourself that you will rest when the problem is solved. You will give thanks when the answer arrives. You will enjoy your life when this uncertain season is finally behind you. But I do not want you to miss today while waiting for tomorrow to become easier. There is goodness here too. Gratitude does not ask you to deny your pain. I would never ask you to call something painless when it wounded you. I would never ask you to pretend that disappointment did not disappoint you. You can bring me your sorrow and still recognize a gift. You can carry unanswered questions and still receive a moment of peace. You can say, Father, this hurts, and a moment later say, thank you for staying with me. Both can be true. This is what fear often forgets. It tells you that because one part of your life is uncertain, everything is uncertain. Because one relationship hurts, you are surrounded only by hurt. Because one prayer remains unanswered, nothing good is happening. Look again, my beloved. Let me widen your vision. Ask me, what have I been overlooking? Then become quiet enough to notice. You may discover that my goodness has not always appeared in the form you expected. Sometimes it has been strength, sometimes restraint, sometimes comfort, sometimes a person who remained, sometimes an unexpected moment of peace, and sometimes my goodness has simply been the grace to continue when you were certain you had nothing left. Do not rush past these things. Receive them. Thank me for one small thing before you ask me for the next answer. Let gratitude interrupt the habit of fear. Not once. Again and again. When you wake and your mind immediately reaches for yesterday's concern, notice something else before you follow it. When anxiety tells you what is missing, remember what remains. When your thoughts tell you that nothing is changing, remember how much I have already carried you through. This does not make your problems disappear. It changes where you stand while facing them. You begin to see that difficulty and goodness can exist in the same day. Tears and gratitude can live in the same heart. Questions and trust can walk together. And slowly, my child, fear stops being the only voice interpreting your life. This is why gratitude brings you closer to peace. It turns your attention away from everything you cannot control and helps you recognize what I have already placed within reach. Look again. There is more grace here than you thought. There is more goodness here than fear allowed you to notice. And there may even be goodness hidden inside things you still do not understand. This is harder to recognize, because some of the moments you remember most painfully are not the moments when something entered your life. They are the moments when something did not. The opportunity that disappeared, the direction that changed, the answer that was not what you hoped, the door you stood before, prayed over, waited beside, and still watched close. You called it disappointment. Perhaps you even wondered why I did not stop it. My beloved child, I know how painful a closed door can feel, but there are times when what you experience as rejection is also where my protection or redirection begins. And sometimes, my child, protection does not feel like protection when you first encounter it. Sometimes it feels like disappointment. You wanted something to remain, but it changed. You hoped a certain path would open, but it did not. You prayed with sincerity. You waited. You believed there was a reason to keep hoping. And when the outcome was different from what you expected, you were left standing before a closed door asking me why. I know that feeling hurt. I know how difficult it is to hear words like protection or redirection when your heart is still grieving what did not happen. So I will not ask you to pretend that you were never disappointed. Bring that disappointment to me. Tell me what you wanted. Tell me what you thought would happen. Tell me why letting go has been so difficult. My beloved, I am not afraid of your honesty. But after you have told me what hurts, allow me to remind you of something your disappointment cannot yet see. You know the door. I know what lies beyond it. You know what you hope to receive. I see where every road leads. There are times when my care for you will not look like giving you what you requested. There are moments when I guide you by allowing a direction to change, by keeping something from continuing, or by asking you to release what you have been trying desperately to hold together. That does not mean every loss will immediately make sense. Some things may remain unanswered for a long time, but do not measure my goodness only by the doors that open. My care is larger than that. My precious one, sometimes you become so focused on one desired outcome that you begin to believe it is the only path through which your life can move forward. If this does not happen, what will I do? If this person leaves, how will I continue? If this opportunity disappears, where will I go? Fear tells you there is only one door. I am not limited to the door you can see, so do not exhaust yourself trying to force open what will not open. Do not keep knocking until your heart is bruised simply because you are afraid there can be no other way. There are moments when faith means knocking, and there are moments when faith means releasing the handle. Let me teach you the difference. Stay close enough to me that your desire for an outcome does not become louder than your desire for my guidance. You can want something deeply and still place it in my hands. You can pray boldly and still say, Father, lead me where you know I need to go. That is not weak faith. That is trust. So, give me the door that closed, my child. Give me the plan that changed. Give me the answer you wished had been different. You do not have to erase your disappointment before you surrender it. Place it in my hands exactly as it is, and then resist the temptation to build your home beside a door that is no longer opening. There is still a road beneath your feet. There is still life in front of you. There is still my presence beside you. Take my hand. Let me lead you, one step at a time. Perhaps one day you will understand why a certain direction changed. Perhaps you will look back and recognize protection you could not recognize while you were grieving. And perhaps some questions will remain questions longer than you would choose. You can still trust me. Your peace does not have to wait for a complete explanation. Remember what I have been teaching your heart. What you can see is not the whole story. A closed door is visible. My wisdom is not always visible. A disappointment is immediate. My guidance may become clear only as you continue walking. So, walk with me. Do not let what ended convince you that I have stopped leading you. But I know, my beloved, that some things are harder to release than a missed opportunity or a changed plan. Some losses leave more than disappointment. They leave a wound. Some words remain in your memory. Some goodbyes changed you. Some seasons took something from you that you cannot simply replace. You may have continued living while a part of your heart remained tender beneath the surface. I see that place too, and I am not asking you to rush past it. What wounded you deserves more than a quick explanation. It needs my presence. It needs healing. And my child, Even the pain you wish had never touched your life does not have the authority to decide who you will become. What wounded you does not have the authority to decide who you will become, my child. I want you to remember this when an old pain rises again. There are wounds you thought would have disappeared by now. You continued with your life. You smiled again. You fulfilled your responsibilities. You learned how to move through ordinary days. Yet sometimes a memory returns. A name. A place. A few words you wish you had never heard. And suddenly, something you thought was far behind you feels close again. I see those moments, my beloved. I know what hurt you. I know what you lost. I know which part of the story you still struggle to understand. And I will never ask you to pretend that something did not hurt simply because time has passed. Pain is real. Some wounds need time. Some healing happens so quietly that you do not recognize it while it is taking place. So do not condemn yourself because you still feel something when you remember. Bring that place to me. You do not need to hide your tears from me. You do not need to become strong before you come close. Let me meet you in the place you have been trying not to feel. My presence is not reserved for the healed parts of you. I am with you in the tender places too. And while I do not ask you to call what hurt you good, I want you to know that what wounded you will not have the final word over your life. Pain can leave scars, but scars are not the same as chains. What happened to you does not have to become the identity you carry into every tomorrow. You are more than what you lost. You are more than what someone said about you. You are more than the season that exhausted you. You are mine, and as you remain with me, I can form something within you that pain alone could never produce. Your heart can become softer without becoming weaker. Your compassion can deepen because you now recognize pain in others that you once would have overlooked. Your patience can grow. Your discernment can become clearer. You can learn where to place boundaries, where to wait, where to speak, and where to release. Even your dependence upon me can deepen when you discover that your own strength was never meant to carry everything. This does not make the wound necessary. It means the wound does not have to be wasted. My beloved child, think of a tree that has endured many seasons of wind. What you see above the ground may tell only part of its story. Beneath the surface, its roots have learned to reach deeper. You are learning to reach deeper too. Not into fear, into me. So when pain returns, do not immediately ask, why am I still feeling this? Ask instead, Father, will you meet me here? I will. Let me sit with you in the memory. Let me remind you that the moment has passed even when the feeling returns. Let me separate what happened from the fearful conclusions you formed because of it. You may have been rejected. That does not mean you are unwanted. You may have been abandoned by someone. That does not mean you are alone. You may have failed. That does not mean failure is your name. You may have walked through a season you would never choose to repeat. That does not mean the rest of your life must remain beneath its shadow. Trust me enough to heal you slowly. Do not demand that your heart become whole according to a timetable you created. Healing is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is noticing that something which once controlled your entire day now occupies only a few minutes. Sometimes it is remembering without collapsing. Sometimes it is choosing peace where you once chose fear. Sometimes it is simply discovering that you can bring the wound to me instead of running from it. These quiet changes matter. I see every one of them. Stay close to me, my precious one. Let me continue what I am doing within you. And do not believe that healing requires you to understand every reason behind what happened. There may be questions you have carried for years. Why did this happen? Why did that person leave? Why was that prayer answered differently? Why did you allow me to walk through that season? I know you want answers. Some may come. Some may become clearer as you continue walking. But your peace cannot depend upon understanding everything. There is something deeper I want to teach you now. You do not need every answer in order to take my hand, and you do not need to understand the entire road in order to walk with me. Then walk with me, my child. You do not need to understand the entire road before you take the next step. I know you have questions. Some of them have been with you for a long time. Why did this happen? Why did it take so long? Why did that door close? When will this season change? How will everything work out? What am I supposed to do next? I am not disappointed in you for asking. Questions do not frighten me. Bring them to me. But do not make the mistake of believing that you cannot have peace until every question receives an answer. My beloved, if your peace depends upon complete understanding, there will always be something capable of stealing it. Life will always contain things you cannot immediately explain. People will make choices you did not expect. Plans will change. Some prayers will unfold differently from the picture you carried in your mind. There will be seasons when the road ahead is clear, and others when you can see only the step beneath your feet. But I will remain the same. This is where I want your heart to rest, not in knowing everything. In knowing me, peace does not begin when every question is answered. Peace begins when you know who is walking with you. You have spent so much energy asking me for the map. Sometimes I simply hold out my hand. Take it. The map would show you where the road goes. My presence teaches you that you do not have to travel it alone. And, my precious one, there will be times when my guidance comes one step at a time. You may want 10 steps. I may show you one. Walk that one. Do what you already know is right today. Be faithful with what is already in your hands. Speak with kindness where kindness is needed. Rest when your body is tired. Wait when the way is not yet clear. Move when I give you peace to move. You do not need to manufacture certainty. Stay close enough to be led. This is trust. Trust does not mean you stop thinking. It does not mean you stop seeking wisdom. It does not mean you never ask me another question. Trust means your unanswered questions no longer have the authority to separate you from my peace. You can ask, why, and still hold my hand. You can wonder, when, and still worship me today. You can admit, I do not know what happens next, and still take another faithful step. There is freedom here, my child. You do not have to solve every mystery. Some answers will come as you walk. Some things that confuse you today may look different when you see them from farther down the road, and some things may remain beyond your understanding for longer than you would choose. Give those things to me too. Do not spend your life standing still at the edge of an unanswered question. There is still love to give. There is still goodness to notice. There is still work for your hands today. There are still people beside you who need the gentleness I am forming within your heart. Keep walking, not hurriedly, not fearfully, with me, my beloved child. Remember how often your mind has told you, once I know what happens, then I will rest. Yet when one question is answered, another can quickly appear. That is why I am teaching you a different kind of rest. Rest before the answer. Trust before the explanation. Peace while the road is still unfolding. This peace is not built upon circumstances remaining exactly as you want them. It grows from relationship. You know me. You know where to turn when fear returns. You know whose hands can receive what yours cannot carry. So take my hand before you ask me for the map. Walk the step I have placed before you. Trust me with what remains unanswered. And when your mind runs ahead again, gently bring it back. Here, to this breath, to this day, to my presence. You have searched for safety in knowing what comes next. But, my child, I have been leading you toward something deeper. Safety is not found in seeing the whole road. It is found in staying close to the one who sees it. That is why you do not need one final explanation before you can rest. You need only to remain near me. And now, my beloved, after all the questions, all the waiting, all the doors you could not open, and all the tomorrows you tried to carry, I want to bring your heart back to one simple place. Stay close to me. Stay close to me, my beloved. After all the questions your mind has asked, after all the possibilities you have imagined, after all the things you have tried to understand before their time, come back to this simple truth. I am here. You do not need to reach some distant place to find me. You do not need to solve one more problem before you can rest in my presence. You do not need tomorrow to explain itself. Stay here with me. My child, you began this journey feeling less secure than you wanted to feel. You looked at changing circumstances and wondered what they meant. You looked toward the future and tried to prepare yourself for everything that could happen. But now I want you to see safety differently. Safety is not knowing that nothing will ever change. It is knowing that I will remain with you when things do. Peace is not having every answer. It is knowing where to bring the questions. Trust is not seeing the entire road. It is taking my hand when you can see only the next step. This is the place where I want your heart to rest. You are safer than you feel, my child. Not because the world around you will always be quiet. Not because people will never disappoint you. Not because every door you desire will open. Not because pain will never visit your life. You are held because none of these things can make my presence disappear. When tomorrow arrives, I will be there. When an answer takes longer than you hoped, I will still be near. When a door closes and you do not understand why, you can still reach for my hand. When an old wound becomes tender again, bring it to me. And when questions remain unanswered, you can walk beside me without forcing them to speak before their time. You do not have to carry everything anymore. Place what you cannot control into my hands. Leave the future with me. Leave the choices of others with me. Leave the outcome you keep trying to predict with me. Then receive what I have actually given you. This day, this breath, this step, my presence. There is enough grace here for you to walk with me now. My beloved child, whenever fear begins telling you that you must know what happens next in order to be safe, remember what I have taught you. You do not need to see everything I see. You need to remain near me. Come closer. Let your thoughts become quiet in my presence. You have spent enough time trying to live inside tomorrow. You have spent enough strength revisiting what cannot be changed. You have carried questions whose answers are not required for this moment. Set them down. Rest. I am not asking you to stop caring. I am asking you to stop carrying what belongs in my hands. There will be another day to walk when that day arrives. There will be wisdom for decisions when they need to be made. There will be strength for steps when they need to be taken. But right now, my precious one, simply stay with me. If your heart is tired, let it rest here. If you still feel afraid, you do not have to hide it. Tell me. If there is something you still cannot release, place it before me again. Trust can begin again in this very moment. You do not have to perform for me. You do not have to prove that your faith is strong. Just remain. I know how to meet you here. And as you remain with me, let this truth become quieter and deeper within you. You are not alone in what you are facing. You are not walking toward an unknown future without me. You are not forgotten in the waiting. You are not abandoned in the silence. I am here. So do not run ahead tonight. Do not ask your heart to carry tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. Walk with me through what is in front of you. Receive the peace available in this moment. And when fear returns, as it sometimes will, let it remind you where to turn, back to me, again and again. My child, you may not know everything that is coming. You do not need to. You only need to remember who is going with you. I will guide you through what you can see. Trust me with what you cannot. Rest in my presence. Stay close to me, my beloved. I am here. Amen.